Hi guys, welcome to the channel. I'm James and today I'm going through my valuation methods for American Airlines Group. What we're going to be doing is looking at their most recent financial statements, then give my fair value of the stock based on discounted free cash flow and the Buffett-Graham intrinsic value. Is the stock a buy in 2022? Towards the end of the video, we're going to be looking at some technical analysis to see where the stock price has gone. But first, if we just look at the share price, currently it is at $16 per share, 16 in the pre-market. This time last it was at highs of even $26 a share, and if we zoom out to pre-pandemic, American Airlines was trading at around about 30. So can the stock get to that height again? So firstly, we want to be looking at the revenue, and you can see here that the revenue has gone from 44 million to 30 million. So that revenue has decreased over the last 5 years, but if we look at 2020, it is up from 17 billion. So that is definitely trending the right way. And if we look at the financials here, you can see how this is broken down. This is the 3 months ending in December 31st. This is 2021, 2020, and then this is the 12 months. We'll be going through both. You can see that in the 3 months ended December 21, passenger revenue is up to 8.3 billion compared to 2020, which was 3.1, so that's a massive increase there. Cargo and other has held about relatively the same, but that kind of just shows that obviously only passengers were not traveling, whereas American Airlines have been able to keep their revenues up with other things. Overall, on those quarters, it went from 4 billion to 9.4, so that is a massive increase. And if we look at the 12 months from 2021 and 2020, passenger revenue has gone up almost 12 billion from 14 to 26. Cargo has doubled and other has increased slightly by about 500 million. But if we look at that, it is 17 billion to almost 30. So that is a massive increase of around about 72%. You can see the percent increases here. Please give a like on the video, it just helps me out. I won't ask again, but thank you very much if you do. Net income is what we're looking at next. This is the profit or loss of the company. American Airlines was profitable in 2018 and 2019, and the pandemic hit it hard. It was minus 8.8 billion in the red, but 2021 it is still negative with just shy of 2 billion, but it is massively trending the right way. So that is a good news to see. And if we look here, we can see how that's broken down. So what profit is revenues minus expenses. We've already talked about the revenue, and you can see here that the operating expenses has increased. You can see operating expenses has increased in the 3 months ended in December from 6.5 billion to 10, so that is an increase. But if we look at the year, it is barely increased. It went from 27.7 to 30. So it was minus 10 billion in the red in 2020, but only minus a billion in 2021. And then if we minus the revenue, that gives you minus 8.8 billion, as I said before, and then minus 2. So it is trending the right way again. Expenses will probably stay relatively flat, but will increase slightly. The main thing is the revenue increasing in 2022. Now we want to have a look if they're buying back their shares, and a very interesting story here. In 2018, they had 464 million shares. They were buying back shares up until that point in the year of the pandemic, but they've also issued more shares since then, probably to help them pay debt, or they've used it to basically raise capital. So American Airlines have been on the right route of buying back their shares, but they've used it recently to issue more capital. Now is their free cash flow increasing, and you can see here free cash flow has gone from minus 212 million to 500 million in the green. And also, once again, you can see free cash flow was negative in these previous years, and then during the pandemic year, minus 8.5 billion. So that is a massive increase from even 2018, but then from the previous year during the major issues of the pandemic, it's increased dramatically. Now we're going to look at discounted free cash flow models and the Buffett-Graham intrinsic value. What this has done, or what we have done here, is calculate the future free cash flows of American Airlines, discounted it to today's value, and with these first numbers, you can see that it is pretty conservative, and we'll see what that gives us right now. So that would actually have the stock fairly valued at its current rate. This is quite conservative estimates. As you can see, it's gone from the current value of 500 million to 731 million in 2025. If cash flows were increasing at a more substantial rate to eventually doubling in 2025, the stock would then have a value of $22 a share, which would be a 35% discount. And finally, we will not be going through the Buffett-Graham intrinsic value because they have negative earnings per share, so this calculation does not work. Once American Airlines has positive earnings per share, I'll be doing a Buffett-Graham intrinsic value. Do analysts agree with what we've said? Well, they currently have it as a hold with 1 buying, 6 holding, and 3 selling. They have the upside at about 9%, which is $17.94, high side $23, and at the low side $8. Now we're going to look at some technical analysis. So the first indicators I want to be looking at is moving averages. So I've added a 50-day moving average in green, a 100-day in yellow, and the 200-day in red. So what we're seeing right now is that the stock price is below all three of the major moving averages, which is a bearish signal. And in fact, there is a strong amount of resistance at both the 50-day and the 100-day moving average. You can see when it hit it here, the price then dropped massively below. But the price has hit this point of support since December. Both times it has got to this level, which is where it's been there, it's bounced back up. And even then when it went to $15.32 a share, you can see the price then broke up there. So this seems to be a point of support for American Airlines currently. Next, we're going to be looking at the MACD, which is the moving average convergence divergence. And once again, here, these are some pretty bearish signs. The MACD line has crossed here, and this is signified by the green switching to red. This is when the signal line and MACD line have crossed. Also, another bearish sign is that the fact that these lines are both below the 0 point here, which is another bearish sentiment. If we look consistently, American Airlines has gone in the negative MACD for months at a time. The upswings have been pretty short, so what you could do if you wanted to trade this in the short term was wait till this starts to peter off and then buy on the swing here. And finally, we're looking at the relative strength index, and this tells us if the stock is in overbought or oversold regions. You can see currently it is trending towards oversold regions. Historically, when American Airlines has been oversold, the price has had a rebound, as shown by December here, once again in July, and here in April. So if it does get in those oversold regions, that would be a buy signal to then sell once it gets into the more overbought regions, because after overbought regions, American Airlines has consistently had a large sell-off. Right guys, thank you for watching the video. Please give a like and a comment down below, and consider subscribing if you're not already, and I'll catch you guys next time.